Long now has mankind looked up to the skies and wondered if we are alone in this universe. Many miraculous things have been spotted all over the world, reported by our militaries, and sparked great debates amongst ourselves. I am here to tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, people of Earth, brothers and sisters of all races, all countries, that we are not alone. We have never been alone. That some higher power has sought to spread the gift of life throughout the universe and beyond all comprehension. It is in these times we must learn to love one another. We must not share hate, but joy. We must not inhibit, but we must grow. These beings are our friends. They are our family. They want to help us become better, to see the true potential of mankind. And for maybe one day, we will join them in their voyage to help other beings from other star systems. As shocking as this news may be, it is nothing new. Our governments of the world have known for quite some time that we are not alone in this universe, and we have had contact for many of years, slowly preparing the American public and the publics of the world for such revelation. We are not alone, and we are about to embark on the greatest journey mankind has ever experienced. Ladies and gentlemen, we have contact.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was my friend. I'm very sorry, but he's just been let out in day release, so he goes back in tomorrow, so don't worry.
What?
Anyway, guys, how's your weekend been? Has it been amazing? I hope you all had a great time. We're going to be talking about some really interesting stuff tonight. The pyramids, ancient ruins, and strange things that we think were built by aliens. And Dakota's playing with his light bulb right now.
Yeah, I'm playing with my bulbs.
Yep, playing. I nearly said it there. So, Dakota, how are you in this fine night?
Oh, I'm quite all right. Got a bit of a headache, but now I think I'll be fine.
A headache, you know?
Yeah.
MD joining us, could you please share this out, guys? I'm just sharing this out on Twitter. Are you tweeting this out? We've got nobody in. That's terrible, you know? We'll give it a couple of minutes.
I think we have to blame Lex and Brian for coming on with us. Damn them for being polite and, mending bridges.
How? Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Brian's video in Sherwood Forest.
Oh, I know.
With his tights on and his hat and his big feather sticking out his head. I honestly think, and Lex could be the sheriff of Nottingham. Riding along in his wee horsey.
Yeah, I couldn't help but do the reface app on those two just to make the picture look better.
I actually did it last night. Brian, Lex, I did the reface app on you last night. It didn't turn out that good, so I'm going to have to try and get a better photo.
Okay, what are you doing wrong? Because I can't ever do a reface with Lex and it not look good. How am I supposed to make fun of the guy?
But he's I don't know. Lex is an amazing guy. He's got a great channel. And so is Brian. I think they're actually live right now. I think their live will be ending in the next 10 minutes or so.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll get somebody in the chat. Who's in the chat, ladies and gentlemen? Who's there? I mean, has something happened? I've not looked at the news for the last 3 hours. Has something happened in the world? Because there's usually a lot more people in,
I know, it's a little scary.
I know. There's 3 people there now. Is Third World War broken out or something like that? And everybody's sitting watching it on TV?
Well, I think you would be more concerned about that, considering all the Russian bombers have been flying around you.
That'd be fine. I mean, why would they want to bomb us Scottish people?
I can think of a few reasons.
What's that? What few reasons? I could think of them bombing England. Yeah, I could think of them doing that. But why would you want to bomb Scotland? A beautiful nation that has supplied the world with inventors and whiskey. I mean, look, I'm going to have to boast myself here, and this is for you guys in the podcast side because you can't see it. You know, we've invented a lot of stuff. We've invented the television. We've invented the telephone. We even, I mean, look at all the inventions that Scotland has brought to this world. You know, you know, Dakota's froze now, ladies and gentlemen. He's going green and all that, you know. But anyway, we've actually got a few announcements to make tonight, but we'll start talking about that shortly, and we've got some pictures we're going to be showing you. Some really interesting pictures that will blow your mind. So Dakota, with further ado, would you like to tell them some news about stuff?
Oh, we want to get into that or not? When
well, we'll do it at the start, and then we'll do it at the start, and then we'll do it in the middle, and then we'll do it again at the end.
Seems like a little too much effort, but all right. We do have some real good news. Something that, well, first one kind of shocked us both when I was able to pull it off.
Yes.
If you look in the description of this episode, you will see that Bald and Bonkers network, which means all of us involved, is now sponsored.
Yes, right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got a sponsor.
That we have, and I'm just going to post a little something in the chat real quick.
Yep.
It is Dubby Energy Drinks. They're a vitamin-based energy drink, so it's a healthier alternative to Rock Stars that apparently you can use to break windows.
Yeah.
You know, it's a healthier alternative. Do a lot for the gaming community, but when you really think about it, those of us in the supernatural who actually go out and do investigations while balancing our day jobs or radio shows like we do, you kind of need a boost every now and then.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Dubby is among several businesses now, actually, all over the world when you really think about it, who could really use some help.
Yeah.
Because they are located in, I believe it's
California.
It's
Long
Beach,
California.
California. And that is one area of the United States that actually has some of the strictest restrictions thanks to this pandemic.
Yes.
And that's just California being California.
Yeah. I mean,
and because of that, they're having issues with getting a lot of supplies in to keep their stuff in stock.
And it's, you got to remember, you think about what's happening all over the world now, Pacific Canada, there's all the blockades with the trucks drivers, and this is happening everywhere, guys. And we'll all get on the structures shortly about pyramids and stuff like that, but first we want to talk about this, because people's businesses are online here, guys. You know, and I know a lot of people that have lost a lot of businesses over the last year, 2 years. And we need to try and keep well, it's not a local business for me. It's obviously in the United States, but at least they're trying, you know. They're trying to get their manufacturing stuff in, and they can't get it.
Yeah, I mean, shortly after we just joined the sponsorship program, the founder actually reached out explaining the situation that, yes, they are trying, but because they are still considered a small business, they're put on the back burner while stuff like Amazon, Walmart, all these big budget, big block stores, whatever they want to call them nowadays, they get first in line. And you got to admit, I don't know if Christine over in the UK, but over here, Amazon's getting put to work so much that a lot of delivery drivers had to start using moving trucks.
It's the same. I mean, right, I use Amazon Prime, and I will admit I do use Amazon. Hey Smith family paranormal investigations. I'd just like to say that Amazon is brilliant. I think Amazon's the greatest thing since, well, sliced bread. There you go. There's a saying for you. But it is a wee bit ridiculous. I mean, I know that the employees at Amazon are getting treated quite bad. I don't know about you. Yeah, I mean, it is quite bad. What I find a bit ridiculous is, and I'll give you an example. I ordered the other day. It was a USB pen drive. You know what I'm talking about? It's got like the USB. It was about that size, but that right. I ordered that. Chap at the door. Guy standing with a box, and I'm like, what's this? Big cardboard box. My name on it. Amazon Prime. I thought, well, right. I thought I've never ordered anything this size. Opens it up. What's the cardboard inside it? Packaging, and what's inside it? A wee box. It says SD sticker.
Mm-hmm. I've had that happen.
Amazon, if you're watching this, please try and curb your carbon footprint. I know you're using recyclable material, but half a tree to send a USB stick is ridiculous.
Right.
But the way they're treating their workers is not very good. I know that, and it's quite bad. And it's not just Amazon. There's a lot of delivery companies out there that's doing the same. And stuff is hard to get. This is the problem. Stuff is really difficult to get, especially because most of it's been made in China. This is the problem nowadays, guys. Because we've been so self-reliant on China, right? Everything's made in China. The United States used to have its own steel production. It used to have its car production. The United States at one point produced 98% of its goods. The United Kingdom used to produce 87% of its goods. See now, the UK produces about 2%, and the United States about 15%. This is the problem. This is the problem. And Dubby energy drinks are trying to become a successful business, but because, as Dakota says, they're no up there with like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they're getting ignored.
I mean, we're seeing it right now with all these price hikes, with inflation, and basically everybody who is actually working retail, they're trying to tell people, it's like, if you can, stock up now. This trucker strike that's going on across the Canadian border, it's going to get a lot worse.
Well,
they're
I
not
can
sure
tell
when
you
they're going to get their stuff.
I couldn't tell you this, right? All this carry on now with Ukraine and Russia, it's very serious, right? I don't know if they're going to invade. My personal opinion is I don't think Russia's going to invade, right? I think he's just trying to annoy the West. I think he's doing it deliberately to try to push the West. But a lot of people don't realise this, but Ukraine actually produces 45% of the world's grain. Right? And they're saying that if this happens, there will be food shortages. There will be, and there is food shortages coming, guys. But Dakota?
No, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
We don't realize how lucky we've had it so far, but now, because we've become so reliant on certain places, say China for like 99% of the world's goods, and they pump out so much that they still have sweatshops with small kids involved.
Yeah.
Apparently, our countries are more than willing to let slide just because we get to be lazy.
Yeah. I mean, before we start talking about the pyramids and stuff, guys, I would just like to say, I mean, let's take one manufacturer. I've got a lot of their equipment. I've got an iPad and an iPhone, but let's just take Apple, right? Do you know the factories in China, right? The factories, the Broken 76, welcome. The factories in China where they make the iPhones, right? Or the Apple devices, they've got suicide nets round about the bottoms of the windows. That's because the people are getting basically treated like slaves. They're hardly getting paid. So they're just throwing themselves out the windows.
Mhm.
Did you know that, Dakota? Did you hear about that, about the suicide nets? And this it's sad. It's a throwaway society we live in. It is sad. And this is what's happened. The resources are running out. Wars are coming. But anyway, Dakota, that's us 15 minutes in. Do you want to change the narrative to talk? What, when you go, sorry?
I had a segue planned, but
Yeah,
you really have to think about it. Let's take all these ancient structures like the pyramids of Giza.
yeah.
I mean, all right, here's a little something about me that not a lot of people know. A few years back, I was actually part of a selection process to do an expedition into Antarctica.
Ooh, I never knew that. Yeah.
Yes, this is true,
Yeah.
very true. There's probably a lot more physical labor than I'm used to, but it was a real big opportunity, so I signed up. Let's see what happens. I unfortunately didn't get picked, but part of the main mission behind it was to see how far plastic has gone.
Oh,
See
right.
if we could find traces of plastic in the ice,
Yeah.
and not just around the coastlines. The full plan was to actually go further inland, close to the South Pole. I mean, think about it. We have this situation with Russia, Ukraine. Vladimir Putin is very much the type of guy who would do something just to piss off the rest of the world.
Of course he would. Of course he would. And
And
he's done
we
it in
already
the
have
past.
conspiracies spinning around that something's going to happen to the Great Pyramids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just think how much ancient history we have yet to uncover. I mean, that Elena Denan we had on, she was actually an Egyptologist and probably could tell you a hell of a lot more than we can.
Yes. I mean, I've researched all of this stuff, guys, to do with the pyramids and some of the other locations I'm going to bring up. Now, I'm going to bring up a photo in a minute. And I want your personal opinion, guys, in the chat. I want you to tell me what you think of this, right? A lot of people don't actually know this about one of the pyramids in Egypt, that it's actually got 8 sides. But there's speculation that it is starting to collapse in itself. Is that correct, Dakota?
Well, that would be one of the theory debunking theories. But let's bring it up. I think it'll be an interesting discussion.
Right. Let me see. Right, here we go. Here's the photo of the Great Pyramid. And you can see how it's got 8 sides. You can actually see. I actually never actually noticed this.
Wow.
And
that's the thing. You can only really tell during certain times of the day if you're in the air.
Yes. See, the outside guys, say you're a tourist, this is what you see. Not everybody has the capabilities of having their own drone, having a private helicopter to take you over that and show you. This is what you've got, right? But it's, I mean, right, see if it was collapsing in itself, right? You would wonder why it would collapse in such a perfect way. I mean, look at those lines, Dakota. I mean, they're perfect. I mean, anybody in the podcast side of this, please come and visit the YouTube channel and watch this back for the images. I mean, I've got another photo actually that's going to shock you all. There's a scientist and he was actually researching this, and Dakota's going to be actually quite interested in this. I'm just going to bring it up now, and it's to do with the Great Pyramid. Here, Dakota, what do you think of that? And that's it's actually, what's that called, Dakota? My man?
Well, it'll be a little bit nicer if we had a little bit better quality so people could actually read the text.
It's the best I could actually do. It's the best I could do to get the photo.
Fair enough.
But it's
there's the technical name for it will be a tetrahedron, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. And if you look at the image, the third image along, right? I'm not talking about the one with the numbers. I'm talking about the one that looks like you'll see what I'm talking about. That's actually being seen quite a few times. If you think about it, Dakota, if you talk about Elena's book, and you go to some of the aliens for the galaxy, some of them have got that in the background. And you know who I'm talking about, don't you? And it makes you wonder, is it got something to do with that? See, there's a lot of scientists out there that think that the Great Pyramid itself is a message. As a message. It was left as a message. I think it had other purposes. I think there was something else. Yes, the Egyptians did bury their dead in it. But you think about it, Dakota, right? Say you were born 10,000 years ago, right? And you're an ancient pharaoh, and you come across great buildings that you did not know what they were, right? When you became old and died, where would you want buried? So as people would remember you.
Obviously, there would be some sort of monument that I would want, and maybe there would be a lot of other people that would try to fulfill that need because of how people are when it comes to their leadership some days.
Right. This is what it's predicted to be like inside it. If you to cut it in half and pull one end out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I find problems with this. I find that there's multiple problems with this. Now, let's go back, say, 20,000 years ago, right? How did you, because they've actually predicted that the pyramids are actually much older than what they are. Right, so, but for no argument's sake, how old would you say, just say 10,000 years, just say 10,000 years, right? Now, how did the light dark spaces 10,000 years ago, Dakota?
They would have to cleverly align a lot of stone structures in order. Okay, let's not talk too fancy. Basically, they got to angle the window just right.
Right, angle the window, right. But if you look at this, right, there's not that many windows where the light shines in. If you go back to early man, Iron Age cavemen and stuff like that, right, they would get a stick, they would wrap something around the end of it, and they would set it on fire, and they would take it inside the cave. And there's actually evidence inside the cave of burn marks, soot marks, right, from the torches, the burning torches, right? Now, that's maybe 15, 16,000 year old cavemen, right? Or even older than that, right? And there's still soot marks, right? And this is caves that have got water flowing through them. This has got animal life in them for over the thousands of years, and the soot marks are still there. How did the cavemen? How did the people in the pyramids light it without windows? Because there's no marks of soot in the ceiling. There's no marks of soot anywhere inside the pyramids.
A very good comment.
That's very true. Mirrors and the sun. That's
a
right.
lot of reflective surfaces. But if I'm not mistaken, they've actually found that in some parts there's actually an electric current that runs the pyramid.
That's right. That's right. And there was I've not got it there because I couldn't find it in time because I uploaded them really quick. But there's actually a geolith. It was actually an Egyptian one, and it looks like a giant light bulb. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
See, a lot of people don't realize this, Ted, that the ancients, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, could make batteries. Because all you needed was a clay pot, a strip of copper, and some vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make a battery. I used to do it at the school in science. You could make a battery. That way. Yes, it will only put out about 1 volt. But can you imagine if they'd done it on a grand scale? I mean, let's go back to this again. Let's go back to this. This is the Great Pyramid, obviously. I mean, what's your thoughts, right, Dakota? What's your thoughts on this pyramid? If it wasn't used for burial purposes, what do you think it was used for?
That will be a subject of debate. There's, like I said, there's the electrical current that some try to speculate that it's some sort of old school power generator.
That's
But
right.
makes you wonder, what are they trying to power?
See, I'm going to tell you something, another wee secret about the Great Pyramid. At one time, the Great Pyramid used to have a solid gold pyramid in the top of it. Did you know about that?
Yeah, it did, but usually withered away in time.
No. But here's the interesting fact. This is where the Masonic Lodge and the Knights Templars come in. King Solomon had meant to have got this. The capstone of the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, was really big, right? And it was solid gold. And King Solomon took it, and eventually, the Knights Templars, when they went to raid the Holy Lands, took it, right? And presumably, it's meant to have like the name of God Jehovah written on it. But I think that was added on, over the years. But they say it actually had a purpose. And you're talking about a power station. What happens if this was some type of charging dock for something? You see where I'm going here?
There's also another thing, speaking of King Solomon, some of the lore around him, the reason for Keys of Solomon, his ancient memoirs about summoning ancient deities, allegedly, he used some of those deities to help build these pyramids. He was supposed to be like some mastermind and got either the knowledge or the physical help from them in order to build these structures. Because there's actually some who speculate that the pyramids were actually built from the top down.
Yes. Yeah. But this is the thing, right? How old, in your opinion, would you say the Great Pyramid is?
Oh God. Let's see. At least 50,000 years, I think the latest estimates are.
Right. So 50,000. Just think about that. 50,000 years, ladies and gentlemen, right? And they made that line up true north perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. It's
deviation, but it's still pretty impressive.
There's about a degree out, right? It's like about a degree out or something. Yeah. But you think about it. You go back 50,000 years ago, right? When basically all they had was the wheel, really, right? So the archaeological people tell us, right? They didn't have technology, and they built this perfectly. I mean, it's exactly perfect, guys. If you to go round the very base, it's perfect. And these aren't like little bricks, guys, that this thing's made out. These things are ton stones, right, that have been carved perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine the logistics in building something like that today with modern technology?
Structures like that are hard to build with modern technology. And there is one little argument that I hear tossed around, and technically it is valid to a degree. But you have to admit, people back then actually had to physically work for their stuff. They had to physically walk around and actually lift things. You have to admit, human society is probably at the laziest it's ever been. Last, let's say, 50 years, 100 years even.
I mean, I know people will say, and I don't know if anybody said it in the chat, because I can't see the chat because I've got all the pictures to my side here so that I can bring them up. But people will go, oh, but there was slaves. Thousands of them, even millions of them, right?
But that's the thing. The latest evidence actually shows there's lodging quarters not too far from the pyramids.
Yeah.
They may have been slaves, but all things considered, they were pretty well treated. It's the equivalent, I guess you can say it would be the equivalent of Amazon putting in living quarters, because that's how close they want all their employees.
So what we're basically looking at here, guys, is the Amazon storage facility of the past. I just can't get my head around what this was used for. I can see myself thinking, oh, I found a big building in the middle of the desert. Yes, I'm a pharaoh. Oh, you know something? I'm going to get buried there because that's a great place to get buried. people will remember me for the next thousands and thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
But no, there's something more to the pyramids. I mean, here's the image of them. I mean, there's meant to be actually more pyramids in Egypt, but they're buried underneath the
is.
desert. Yeah.
There is, and you also have to consider part of the reason why there is that commentary about maybe the pyramids are just collapsing in and it just happens to line in because that's the area of least resistance.
Yep.
Egypt was not always a desert. They say
That's right.
in about cycles of about every 5,000 years or so. If someone knows in the chat that can correct me, please feel free, but I believe it's right around there. It goes, the climate will shift to where Egypt becomes a jungle.
Yes. But I mean, you think about it, right? I know it turns into a jungle and stuff like that, but you think about where this is situated with all the sandstorms and stuff like this, and then the jungles, and then the sandstorms, and then the jungles. Throughout the thousands and thousands of years, I must admit, these guys done a good job with this building. I mean, whoever.
Oh yeah, you got to admit, there was at one point, like you said, there was a gold top, but there was actually gold plates on the sides of these pyramids itself at one point that you can still find traces of. And there's issues with people trying to loot the things all the time, trying to score some ancient gold, because can you imagine how much that would be worth? My God.
Well, that's as the story goes, the Knights Templar took the triangle off the top of it.
Well, no, but there was not just at the top, but completely on the sides as well.
Yes, it was meant to be made out of gold.
Lead further credence to the theory that there was some sort of energy tower, or as Smith Family Paranormal pointed out, an 8-sided radio tower, maybe. But again, who are they trying to contact? It wasn't until the 1940s that someone realized that, wait a sec, that's not 4-sided, simply because they happen to be flying a plane over it.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, Egypt isn't the only place that's got pyramids, guys. I mean, we've got South America, we've got Mexico, we've actually got some in Europe. Believe it or not, there is pyramids.
If I'm not mistaken, there were some found in North America as well.
Was there?
Not as impressive as those ones, but yeah.
It makes you wonder, right? They say a lot of like UFOs have been seen around thunderstorms and stuff, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I'm just putting this out there? What happens if that was a charging dock for your wireless charger?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to bring up another place shortly, which is an interesting place. Now, I've already sent you the name of it because I can't pronounce it, so I've got my universal translator to read it out to you, and I'll just bring it up to you now, guys. This place, even the scientists and even the archaeological people could not figure this place out. Dakota, without further ado, what's it called?
Now, this is going to be one that's up for, I think, it's even more debate than Egypt, but the ruins of Pumapuku.
Yes.
Popular topic in ancient alien theory.
Yes. I mean, this is what fascinates me about this, guys. And see the H blocks there? I'm going to show you a close-up of these H blocks, right? Now, this place is maybe 2 miles radius within the region itself. Now, see these blocks? There's an estimated 900 of these H blocks everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know every one of them is the exact same measurement? Exact same measurement. Every single one of them. Now, guys, these are not made for concrete. These are made from solid stone. These have been chiseled out, right? But this is the thing. They don't really know how old this goes back. It could be 60, 70,000 years, right? But this is the thing. There's no chisel marks on any of the stones.
Mm-hmm.
Not one chisel mark. So how were these made? Now here I'll show you a kind of close-up ones. Obviously they've been weathered, right? They've been weathered throughout thousands of years. And people have obviously put stones at the bottom of them to stop them falling over. But look at them, guys. I mean, they've been done to precision. I'll show you some of the. This is the more kind of other ones. These are chiseled, guys. These are not. Well, they're no chiseled. They've been cut somehow. They've been. And scientists today have actually tried to make these ones, right? And it's possible, but it's
Yeah, with water
theoretically it
jets.
would take, with water jets and diamond drills and stuff like that. But can you imagine? And it's estimated 60,000 years. How long? How they did that with a chisel, but there's no chisel marks.
Yeah, there's a couple things you have to consider. There's one thing that actually Sam makes kind of a pretty good point here.
Yeah.
Ancient aliens got something wrong about these. They try
What's
to say
that?
it's granite, which is one of the hardest structures to cut. You would need water jets, which actually I say that because they can actually be even more accurate than diamonds. But there is a lot of weathering. It's made of sandstone, but the thing is, even with all the thousands of years of erosion, you can still run your finger across some of these and actually end up cutting yourself.
Yes, that is the point. Do you know that they've taken laser specialists? I've seen them getting used in engineering firms. It's a special machine that will actually measure. I'll bring it up again here for you, right? It'll actually measure the cut into the stone. Do you know, right, that every cut is exactly the same on every stone? Yes, there is ones that have weathered, right? But there's ones that have been buried that they've brought up that are perfect, guys, that look like new, right? But these things are 60, 70,000 years old. I can see the point with some stone sandpaper, yeah. But you imagine how many of these are. There's meant to be over 1,000 of these that they've found over a 2-mile radius. Can you imagine what's buried? The thing's buried. Good God, how long would that take? And plus, getting them perfect, absolutely perfect. I mean, you can see these have been sitting for a while, right? They've cemented them to the ground. It's a museum. It's a walk-in museum. This place. But the one on the left was the one on the right was wasn't buried. It was buried, and the one on the right, because I read up on this before I downloaded the photos, was weathered because it's been outside. But I mean, it's theoretically impossible. There's no chisel marks, and top scientists today cannot figure out how these were made. Today, yeah, no problem. Water jets and stone sandpaper and manufacturing could probably make about 10 a year or something like that. But there's thousands of these. No, you think about it, Dakota, right? You get a slab of stone, right? And you make 10 exactly the same. Exactly. Same measurements. Exactly. It's I think there's more to this world than meets the eye. I think our civilization have been for thousands and thousands of years before then. In fact, I would say millions of years. Because they're finding things now, guys, in strange places that should not exist. They found. Did you see that thing that they found in the sea, Dakota? It's like an ancient computer.
Mm-hmm.
It's all made of like cogs, and that's meant to be about 5,000 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, you think, guys, of what's actually hidden out there, what's buried below the surface. There's a mine in Russia where they actually dug down. Did you see that photo? And it looks like a cell phone, but it's not a cell phone. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This was a mine, guys. They were digging into the mine. They were about 1/4 mile deep, right? They were digging into the mine. They dug through a semi-coal, and they found a big fossil. They broke it in half, and inside it looks like an old phone with buttons with weird writing on them. I think civilizations in this world have came and gone. That's a good point. Time travel, Sam. But it's I think there's been civilizations that's came, they've been destroyed, they've rebuilt, they've been destroyed. Like our world today. Can you imagine what would happen if we had a full-scale nuclear war right now?
We'd be done for. Easy.
Yeah, it'd be done for. There might be a few humans left over. 2,000 years, 3,000, 4,000 years later, there'll be humans wandering about. There'll be no technology. There will be under the ground, buried. Let's see. We are all the time travelers. That's very true. They say that about some of the aliens, don't they, Dakota?
Yeah, some of the ETs that are coming to see us are actually distant evolutionary descendants.
Yeah.
This is not just coming from some crackpot scientist. This is allegedly coming from some of the ETs themselves.
Yeah.
Which all these things bring up a point. There's this argument. I see it over and over when it comes to ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
A fair argument. Don't get me wrong. That if these things were real, we'd find some evidence by it now.
Yes.
Okay, first off, when it comes to ghosts, in order to satisfy the scientific method, that would involve killing people and waiting for them to come back and tell us what happened. Hello? UFOs.
Yeah.
We are. Let's take that picture of the pale blue dot, right?
Right.
There's just a tiny speck, a tiny pixel, according to most monitors nowadays. The odds of something coming to find us are slim, which is why, maybe the original beings that came to find us were happening to be joyriding in a random direction one day, and they're like, wait the fuck a minute.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to archaeology in the ancient past, there's only so much we can dig up. We have evidence of things being destroyed because of wars, because of looters, because of rioters.
Yeah.
And there's only been so long we've actually had writing. How much is simply lost because we didn't know how to document?
I mean, you think about the things that have been deliberately destroyed to hide the truth, because they say that's what happened in Egypt. They didn't like the truth, so they covered it up.
Yeah, there was a certain pharaoh that I can't remember his name, but I completely rewrote Egypt's history to try to get rid of the polytheistic religion they had to make it monotheistic, one God.
Yeah. Huh?
Certainly makes you wonder how much of history. I mean, we're gonna
I'll
get
bring up the
slightly
pictures
political
again
here.
for everybody in the chat.
I mean, let's get slightly political here. Let's look at what's happening because of all these monuments being destroyed because of the Black Lives Matter movement.
Exactly.
I mean, even people that were completely supportive of getting people of color rights, their monuments are getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And something that not a lot of people take into consider, human psychology is relatively unchanged over the past few thousand years. The people back then, they weren't dumber. They had the same processes of complex thought. Maybe they didn't know as much as we do nowadays, but human psychology has been the same this entire time. Who's to say that, like Sam points out, who's to say cancel culture hasn't come up before?
Yeah. Who's to say our civilization in the next couple of 100 years will be going?
Exactly. Things we wouldn't know unless we had a time machine.
You think about it, right?
In time wouldn't mess it up.
Imagine if you went forward in time right now, and say 500 years, and you were walking through this forest, and you stumbled across a concrete block, and that concrete block was one of the buildings in New York City. But by that time, it would just be overgrown, growing farmland and woods. You'd be like, there must have been something here at one point. It doesn't take long, guys, for cities to disappear. You watch that as a life after people. If there was a nuclear war right now, obviously the bombs would do a lot of damage, right? Let's take London, right? Yeah, there'd be still standing structures and stuff. Give it 500 years. Water's going to rise. Trees are going to take over. There'll be some ruins, but it'll be fairly hidden.
I know.
Right?
There's
Give it 60,000 years.
I can't remember the name of the book, but there was this book that kind of imagined a post-apocalyptic future, and they talk about the main characters going through New York, what would be modern-day New York City,
Yeah.
and they come across the statue of what would be George Washington.
Yeah.
Everything's weathered out. Plants have started to take over again, to where they thought, because they didn't know how to analyze it for any other signs. I mean, think about nowadays. We have AI that's been helping us find even more Nazca lines. That's the point that it's out there. They didn't have access to that type of tools, or even would know how to look for it. They thought this statue of George Washington was a god named Ogre Wash.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how much of what we know now has actually been mistranslated just because we didn't find anything else to back it up.
Well, you think of all the cities that they found. You think of all the cities they found in the Amazon jungle using new satellites that could map out through the trees. You know, and they've predicted there's cities that haven't even been discovered yet that are gone. I mean that was the Incas only disappeared. What was it? The Incas didn't disappear that long ago. And look at the cities they're gone.
I mean, think about it. This was about, I'd say 10 years back, where there was a middle school kid, I believe here in the States, who ended up finding the location of a lost city just because he was goofing off on Google Maps for a school project.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we had the situation with Antarctica melting off, there was one point, not a lot of people realize this, one point in history where Antarctica was nothing but jungle. Who's to say we won't find something hidden under there? Granted, that all that ice melts off, we got problems. You know,
oh yeah,
my part of the U.S. is going to have beachfront property, but just to wait for the types of stuff that's going to come out of there. I mean, we have people freak out because we have ancient viruses that are resurfacing because of this. Now, granted, they evolved to attack much less complex organisms, so we might be okay, but nevertheless, who knows what's under there?
Yeah, it makes you wonder, you know, about dinosaurs and stuff like that. Was it an asteroid that killed the dinosaurs?
Wasn't necessarily the asteroid, it would be the crap in the air that choked them out.
It's not really the nuclear weapons that kill you in a nuclear war, it's what comes after. The radiation and the fallout.
What killed the dinosaurs was essentially everybody who was having really nasty asthma attacks.
Yeah. There's Sam there, the Rosetta Stone. That's actually quite an interesting thing, that the Rosetta Stone, isn't it? I mean, that'd
be a whole nother show in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll actually maybe do a show on that maybe next week, depending if we've not got a guest or not. But there's that many things that's hidden. I mean, here's an interesting location, the Hoover Dam, right? That eventually will collapse one day. But there's concrete in that Hoover Dam that's still setting today. It's still to go hard because there was that much poured, right? 10,000 years from now, say humans don't exist. They might an alien creature might come along and say, Ken, I think something's been here at one point. Because you can see how it's been built, and they'll stand there and they'll try and figure it out. They'll be like, oh, there must have been something here, there must have been something. You see, this is the thing. This is what's happening with us. We're standing looking at the pyramids, and we're like, oh, something was there. Something far more was there.
Exactly.
You know?
I mean, think about it. I just thought of something. Here's a little thought process for everybody. There's these guys I've seen on TikTok. Yes, just hear me out. Where their whole thing is that they're construction workers, and their whole thing about their TikTok is throwing random stuff into the concrete that they're laying and covering it up.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that's going to look like in a few thousand years?
Yeah.
If somebody goes to dig that up, like, what the fuck?
It's like I know I'm going to bring up a film here, right? A mad film. There was two of them made, and then there was the remake made. The Time Machine. H.G. Wells, the time machine, right? The
By
first
H.G.
one I
Wells.
always thought was the best one. I think the first one was the best one, right? But we take the second one, right, where he gets quite far into the future and he meets this hologram in this library. And he ran off a fusion reactor. A fusion reactor, if you don't know, can run for thousands of years, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, the moon explodes or whatever, something goes wrong, and he goes forward in time. What was it? He went forward about 100,000 years or something like that.
Yep.
Humans exist, but they're stupid, right? They're stupid. And he comes across the hole in the ground, and who's in there? It's what's left of the fusion
The
reactor,
Morlocks.
and it's still running, and they're still building it. That's what will happen one day. See if we kill ourselves off by some terrible war, right? There will be technology that will survive thousands of years. And you think about all these big complex bunkers in the United States, with all the sophisticated technology in them, right? If something happens, all the humans die, that's still going to be there. That's still going to be there because the doors are closed, right? The doors are closed. It's going to be protected for a certain amount of time for the elements, right? Eventually, it will be destroyed. But you think about it, 2,000 years later, somebody digs that up and they're like, oh, there must have been something here.
You know, that's a good point, but you also had to consider a lot of these bunkers, they're supposed to last even the most destructive of forces Mother Nature can
Yes.
throw at us. They're failing just because of climate change right now.
Yeah, some of them are failing because of flooding, because they were built in floodplains. I mean, some of them are.
I was like,
I'm
just tossing this stuff out here. Just think, we have all this going on right now. So much uncertainty. Humans have not really changed over thousands of years. There's at one
Oh no,
point.
still warlike. Aye.
I mean, who's to say that how much we're changing now will actually survive? How much of just some idiots back then goofing around ended up being some sort of major discoveries? I mean, there's some that speculate, hopping over to ancient Greece, that some of the beings we've known as like demigods were just really, really talented athletes for back in the day. Hercules, as an example. There's old clay tablets and clay pots that say the figure we know as Jesus Christ. Oh no, I'm getting into religion. Dakota, bad. No, I'm talking about actual history here, motherfucker. Anyway, they say that Christ was nothing more than a magician.
Yes.
And I'm not trying to dictate religion. I'm stating what's been found.
Look, who wrote the Bible? It was man. The man or women have got a tendency to exaggerate things. One man might write in the book, "Oh, the man was crucified." Right? The man was crucified, right? And then the next person that comes along says, "Oh, the man was crucified and then he was stabbed with a spear." And then the next person that comes along will, "Oh, put in the book they add a wee bit on just to get that wee bit more." You know what it's like? It's like gossip. It's like your next door, my next door neighbor John died, right? And by the time it gets to the neighbor 10 houses down, my next door neighbor John died because he fell over and broke his neck, but that never happened. People have just added that on. That's what happened with the Bible. I'm not saying that it didn't exist. I'm not saying that it wasn't true. Things were exaggerated.
I mean, first off, let's take how, let's roll with the gossip line real quick.
Yeah.
Let's take how people exaggerate details like that over time. They see something interesting, they want to try to brag that they've been there. It's the same logic behind there's a really tragic event, then all of a sudden everybody's taking out their phones to start to record. Chances are people had that access back then, they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Now let's say you have these travelers. They're not exactly the brightest bunch, but then they meet people who happen to be exceptionally tall back then.
Yeah.
They go to tell their families when they get back home, they go to tell the people that they meet up with down there that they saw these really, really big people. Then they go to tell their friends, all of a sudden we got stories of giants walking the earth.
Yeah.
In which, yes, technically there is archaeological evidence to suggest that there were giants.
Oh, yeah.
But they were, but considering a few thousand years ago, someone made it to 7 foot. Yeah, that's a bit of a giant.
Mm-hmm. You got to remember thousands of years ago, and that I'm right. I'll tell you what. We'll go back to the medieval era, right? That's not that long ago. You got to remember a lot of people in the days didn't live long because there was no such thing as antibiotics and hospital care, right? Plus to the fact people were smaller,
Mm-hmm.
right? What happens if they come across a human that's, say, from a different continent, right? That's obviously had better health, you know, and they're tall, really tall, and there's lots of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, "Oh, they're strange creatures. They're giants. They've came from Olympus," right?
Mm-hmm.
We can say they're Greek, for instance, right? Oh, they've came from Olympus. Oh, they're giants, right? Just because they're Greek or something like that. It's people exaggerate. You get it in this era too, where there's been a tragic event. Oh, I was there. Oh, I was there. Oh, I was helping everybody. I was helping. They weren't even there at the time. You get it in the military. You get people kidding when they were in the US. What do you call it? Navy SEALs, and they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing, guys. Not everything is what it seems.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's that? Granny page? What's that? A story gets distorted. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it gets distorted. It gets destroyed. And once that's happened, and you got to remember, religion, guys, played a big part to control people in the early era of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
Look at just look at the witch trials in America.
Yep.
And Britain. That was people saying that, oh, there's a woman over there, she's a witch. I've getting everybody. She's healing people just because she's healed people. She's classed as a witch. Or because that person wouldn't marry such and such, she's a witch.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
And they were done. Yeah, it's humankind exaggerate to bend. It's power. It's all power. Look, they're doing it. They're doing it today. They're doing it right now in front of us.
Look at Facebook.
Look at Facebook.
I mean,
Exactly.
think about it. There's a quote from Men in Black I've mentioned before, and it's probably become even more true today.
Yeah.
The person is smart, people are dumb.
Yeah.
There is a psychological known phenomenon, mob mentality, that whenever people are in a group scenario, they think for the good of the pack, not the good for the self.
Yeah.
Those who think of the good of the selves, sociopaths that become businessmen, retail managers, CEOs, certain CEOs more than others.
Yeah. I mean, right, let's take Facebook, right? And I don't care if Facebook bans this video on Facebook because Facebook's dying. You know, Facebook is dying. They're actually talking about ban. They're actually stopping about letting it work in Europe. Because it's everybody's leaving it. And I've obviously joined the other one, which is really good. And Facebook can change the way things happen. You think about how Facebook has pushed people over the edge. Let's take the US elections, right? Right. They were putting out rubbish just so some of them would get elected. Right.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't showing the true thing that was happening. They were covering it up, like a lot of the news agencies out there, like CNN, for one of them. That's one of the biggest bad ones out there that cover stuff up, you know. And this is what's wrong in this world, guys. I think if you went back to maybe the 1940s, 1950s, you would have got a true kind of understanding. It wouldn't have been as bad as this. But now technology has kind of destroyed. What do you think, Dakota?
Oh, I have a few points here. Think about the recent Facebook leaks from that gal that went on 60 Minutes. She fully showed evidence that Facebook was purposely causing conflict because it drew more people to their site. Hold on. Isn't it Meta? Yeah, technically they're still under Meta, so that's Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. You also have to remember all of those are owned by Microsoft as well. But in fact, actually, Meta, that's a good point. When that whole metaverse that Mark Zuckerberg's wanting to put out goes, they're actually speculating it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
The whole little angry emoji, that was made to have like 10 times more effect than someone hitting a like button.
You got to remember, Facebook spies on you.
Everything does.
They've got everything. I know everything does, but Facebook have got access to your photos. They've got access to your chat logs. They've got access to everything. And they say they don't sell it to individuals, but they do. They sell their information to like companies selling stuff. Because don't you find it strange when you're in Facebook, there's always an advertisement for something that you want?
You know, here's one thing. If they are going for all this access and all this horrible stuff you see on Facebook,
yeah,
you think they would want to take the moral high ground and do what they can to try to stop it? They have all this proof of these absolutely diabolical people that hurt children, racist motherfuckers. I cursed. Sorry, but I have a point that I want to get into here. And let's say, because this does go out to Spotify, and there's a whole spiel about Spotify and Joe Rogan right now. I want to get into that. They have the ability to stop all these people, yet the people in corruption, that people in power, absolutely corrupted, get money from them. They want to stay in power, so they exchange favors. We look at President Joe Biden. Right now, honestly, it's getting a little concerning that he looks like he has a stroke or has some sort of.
Oh, he's had a stroke. Everybody,
But
you get lost in the White House gardens.
I mean, no, there's something even worse here going on. You have this spiel going on about the Joe Rogan experience where he's coming out saying the N-word, and there's all this misinformation about the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yet we have a president in office who people have felt this Black Lives Matters movement, which is funded by the Obama Foundation.
Yeah.
Well, there are several clips of him utilizing the N-word, saying we don't need these N-words in power. And right now, his son, Hunter Biden, is messing around with his 14-year-old cousin. 14-year-old cousin. And they are purposely paying off agencies in order to try to cover that up. This is what's wrong with the situation.
I see when he was running for.
I prefer aliens.
See, this is the thing. This is when he was running for president. Facebook, one of them, CNN, CNBC, all these big corporations covered it up. They covered it up.
The Democratic Party owns a majority stock of them.
Yeah. But you see, this is an actually interesting subject that I'm going to bring up now. We've got all these truck drivers in Canada now protesting against the pandemic. I'm not saying the word, right? Because I'm not getting the channel language. And the processing, right? And you know how I found out about that? Through YouTube. Because there's nothing else anywhere else. BBC News, Sky News, all the other news agencies. Not one of them. Do you know the only news station that I was reporting on it was that RT, Russian Today TV. That's the only one. See, guys, it's all corrupt. The system's corrupt now, and this is all we plan. See this thing with Russia and everything that's going on with the pandemic. This is a plan, guys, to bring in one thing, and it's called the One World Government, and that's what it is. Oh, and then there's the what is it? Was it the Great Reset? Is it no? You will own nothing but be happy. Have you heard about that one, Dakota?
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
They'll write off all debt. They'll write off all your debt. Like, say you own $20,000-$30,000, right? They'll write that off, right? But see your car and your house, they'll own it. Any money you've got in the bank will be theirs. But in return, you'll get £300-400 a week to live on. But you're never allowed to own anything again.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to own a house. You're not allowed to own a car. Yeah, you can rent one. You can drive about in it. But it's not yours.
Well, I mean,
One
look
world
at
government, ladies
the
and
financial system going on right now. You have all these people complaining that there's price hikes. I see like $1 price hike on burritos. Yet all these people are wanting to own houses. People complaining that the millennial generation can't afford houses.
But see, this is what they're doing, right? See, this pandemic, right? They've bankrupted countries. This is what they want. They want to bankrupt countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they're going to do is they're going to keep printing money, millions and billions. They're just going to keep printing money because that's what they can do. And countries are going to go bankrupt, right? They kind of look after their people, right? So then somebody will come in and go, you know something, let's do the Great Reset. Let's have one government for the entire world and we'll wipe off all debt. But you'll own nothing, but you'll be happy. One world government, ladies and gentlemen. But you'll have to sign your rights out of them. Because that's what I was reading up on this and, well, looking into it, watching a lot of YouTube videos on it, and seemingly you have to sign yourself into this. Once you sign that document, they own you. They own you. You can never, any money you get, you've got to give to them. If you inherit a house, you're not allowed to keep it. You've got to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the sad thing, guys. It's coming. See, by 2030, this will be a reality in this world. It will be. What's your thoughts on it, Dakota?
It's hard to argue. And I mean, here's the thing. Here in the U.S., we still have people trying to beg for more and more stimulus checks like they did when the pandemic first started. Here's the thing. 40% of the world's money was printed in the last, I believe it was 10, 15 years. Prices are going to go up. That money has to come from somewhere. And the more that it gets printed, the less that's actually worth.
Yes. There was actually
We're
a case.
playing right into their hands.
There was actually a case in Russia when Russia, it wasn't in Russia, it was some part of the Russia in the 1960s. And what happened was there was the old story that the guy that taken the wheelbarrow full of money to the shops to buy something, right? And he came out and the money was lying and the wheelbarrow was stolen because it was worth more money.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? It's
Exactly.
yeah. This is what's happening now. Stuff's hard to get, so it's the prices are going up, right? So you're working more to make more money, but you're not getting paid more money, right? But you're paying more taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're struggling. Every year it's getting worse and getting worse. See, by 2030, guys, it's all going to go tits up, as the word would say. So what do you think of that, guys? Wonder if we'll still have a YouTube channel by next week.
Yeah,
the global elites will be sitting.
Why do you think we send it out to so many different platforms?
Yeah.
They can't hit us all at once.
Yeah, but that's what's happening. They're going after everybody. Yeah. That's why YouTube's dying. That's why we're thinking. I mean, there's so many different areas we can stream it. That's why we do it. You know?
I know we pretty much hit all the free ones.
Yeah. Soon we'll maybe moving on to another one, but we're still in talks about that. Yeah, Moule and Dakota. But it's
We'll think about that.
YouTube. YouTube is it's a police state. You know, the world's. This is what people don't realize. The world will not be the same as it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. The world isn't the same. What are you talking about?
I don't think it will ever be the same. I think this pandemic will be with us for the rest of mankind, forever, until the new world government comes in. It will, and then I bet you it mysteriously disappears. You know. But anyway, guys, that's us been on for 1 hour and 11 minutes. My goodness, how time has flown. Do we have the Lost Magics tomorrow? Don't we, Dakota?
Yes, because dear Drew was not feeling well on Friday
Yes.
night. We're going to temporarily move it to Monday night, so that way you can still get your fix. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe across all these different channels. If you there's a flow code link, it's got all the spots we're listed on, so I don't have to ramble them all off like this one tries to get me to do. Let's see. There was one more announcement that we had.
What was that?
Did you already forget?
What?
I find it funny that I'm getting ready to reveal my latest little experiment. Now all of a sudden we're glitching out. Anyway.
Strange, isn't it?
Let's see. 1 week from now, there's going to be a special broadcast.
Special podcast.
And this has been something that's been brewing for about a year now.
Yeah.
And in response to some negative energies that looking more and more like it has some ET connections, I have been designing our own CE5 protocols.
Yes.
And for different uses. This first one that's going to come out next week is for protection. And it's been utilized in exorcism scenarios with relief almost like that. It will also be released on most music distribution platforms to where anybody can buy it, download it, use it on their own YouTubes or whatever. And don't worry, it's set up to where you won't get flagged by YouTube or Facebook. Hopefully, I've other artists who've done similar situations that have had this issue before. That's why I'm saying that. Now, if you use it, feel free to let us know how it works for you. I highly recommend you don't use it while operating any heavy machinery or driving your automobile, because some people have reported some interesting effects where it feels like a pulsating headache. But if that happens, just turn it off, listen again another time. It's more like muscle strain when that happens.
Yeah.
This will be distributed everywhere. You'll also get free videos across. You think we should put it on the podcast version?
Yeah, we can stick it up there. How long is it?
The one that's going to be aired here is about an hour and 30 minutes, but the recording that I'm sending out, I mean, this will be available everywhere. Spotify, Amazon Music, you'll even be able to mess around with it on TikTok if you wanted to.
Ooh, TikTok.
Yes, I actually have my music on TikTok. There you go. But it is experimental. So far, the results have been positive. And there's even more coming. I was just working on it just before we came on this show. And trust me, things are about to get a whole lot weirder.
Yes. So, guys, please tune in tomorrow and tune in on Friday. and tune in for the
Whoa,
special
whoa, whoa, whoa,
broadcast.
whoa, whoa! Wait the frick a
You
minute!
froze. You
Don't-
froze. You froze. I thought you weren't there. I thought you'd stopped. You were like,
Well, hold on the
Yeah.
frick a minute.
huh?
Don't we have something else that's supposed to be coming out for Thursday?
Oh, what could that be?
Well, I don't know. You were just messing around recording on it. It's
Oh, that's
Paranormal.
right. That's
If
right.
you're still in the house,
That's
we're trying
right.
to help you out here. Yeah.
That's
We
when
have
you got
a
your
new show that's going to be coming this Thursday with the lovely Smith Family Paranormal
yes.
called The Intercourse. This one's going to know more about it.
Yes. So please come on Thursday and watch the broadcast. It's not a live, it's an upload, guys. So please come and have a wee watch it again at your time. And they were talking about crystals, and I found it fascinating. I was down below in the basement, controlling everything, watching it. So, well, what time will that be out at?
Oh, well, I don't know. We haven't really discussed on when
Do
to
you
put
want to
that
put it
out.
out? Do you want to put it out about 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night on Thursday
Your
night?
time or my time?
It's up to you. You can put it out your time for the US side.
I was
You
like,
know?
if we put it 9 p.m. for your side, is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me.
Right. So you make it 12, put it out at 12 a.m. then for my side, and then it'll be perfect.
All right,
Right.
that sounds good. I think we'll
And then
go ahead and do
we've
that.
got the Saturday show. And who have we got on Saturday?
Who do we have for this
Again,
Saturday?
I wonder who that could
Louis
be.
Presley, who I forgot. Who was it?
Oh, you forgot who it was.
What,
It's
you're the one that's
Sherry
supposed to
and
play-
Sam. Sherry and
Oh,
Sam in
no
the
wonder
chat.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, that's terrible. You better watch the big cauldron will be up the morning, but bubbling away with Toad's eyes and
Yeah,
stuff.
Drew will put me in her famous little jars.
Oh, and there you go. Tin Dakota. That's like some crazy.
If I go missing, check Scotland.
Yes. She'll put you in the cupboard, let you out at weekends.
You know I love you, Sherry. I tease with love. Just remember that, please.
I've got one question for Sherry before we go off. Sherry, when are you doing the spell for hair?
Yeah, come on, Sherry. I need my luscious locks.
I want some long and wavy hair. So when I come on, I can whip it out on my shoulders,
You know, that long, beautiful blonde Pleiadian hair.
There's Drew's
Instead of not in
paranormal
one. Whoa, Drew. Oh God, we should probably cut this off. We're starting to.
we don't want Dakota coming out,
God.
Just ignore us, guys. It's Sunday night and we're tired and it's bad,
It's about dinner time. I gotta get ready for work here soon. So
yeah, and I'm going to. So catch you later, guys. See you all tomorrow night in the Lost Magics.
All right, we'll see you then. Where the hell did that video go? Oh, there it is.